Good morning, it's Dr. Wegman, another episode of Purpose Maker. I've got a really fun guest here today. This guest was recommended to me by Brian Wagner, who's probably your number one customer. Brian
He's
loves...
a great supporter.
He is a great supporter. So today I'm talking with Eeva Redmond, and her and her husband own a very unique business. And we're going to get into how they got into this business and what they do. The business name is Elder Piper. It is a brewery and cidery. Do you say cider or cidery?
Cidery.
Cidery. And we're going to celebrate two things. Not only is this their 2-year anniversary month, they just won third best brewery in the country in the USA Today.
That's right. We did.
So congratulations, Eva. That's absolutely astounding for 2 years old.
Thank you.
So I'm going to read a little bit about who you are so people know.
Sure.
And then we're going to get going asking you some questions. So Eva's the co-founder and the creative director of Elder Piper. We're going to want to know how you got that business name too.
Of course.
That's interesting. She's a certified Cicerone. We'll have you explain some of that. And then she's an international beer competition judge and beer educator. So that's pretty impressive for a couple of lines there. Very impressive. All right, so let's start with the name first. Elder Piper. How do you guys come up with a cool name like that?
Elder Piper is the name of one of my husband's ancestors.
How awesome.
And we are in my hometown here in Petoskey, and there's so much of my story, my history, my community here. And so it was really important to us to bring his story and his family tree into our business in a big way. The name Elder Piper is actually 2 last names from his family tree. And so it has deep roots, and it's bringing 2 of those branches together in the same way we want our business to be this sort of rooted space for community and family.
That is awesome. That's a neat way to name business. So we're going to get deep into how you guys created that business, but let's hear a little bit about you, your origin story. You said this is your hometown.
That's right.
So you're born here?
I was, yep.
Okay.
I grew up here in Petoskey, and I've lived all over the country and all over the world since, but this is always the place I benchmarked. This is what home feels like. The water, I missed it everywhere else we lived.
Yeah, this place is definitely gorgeous with the water. So you're born here. Did you go to elementary school at one of the locals that are still here, like Central? Or
I went to Concord Academy, the art school, K through 12.
Yeah, Concord's great.
So, that background in the arts, that was the career path I started to take. After high school, I did a gap year. I did a study abroad program in Belgium.
Oh, nice.
And I lived in Antwerp and learned Flemish.
This is where you got introduced to beer.
It was, yeah. No, it's
Good
in Flanders in Belgium was the first time I really experienced beer as part of a culture, particularly part of a culinary culture.
Right.
And that was something that I've always loved, cooking and recipes and great food. And so that culinary path for beer and how much it's a part of the cuisine in Belgium and the culture really excited me. And I saw it as more than just a beverage at that point. And it definitely created a through line in my career.
Sure. Are your parents still in town?
They are indeed. Yeah. Part of why we came back was to be here for my family.
Oh, that's a nice choice. Family's good.
I'm glad we could make it.
Any siblings?
I do. I have 2 brothers.
Ooh, older or younger?
Older.
Older brothers.
Yep.
You were
I'm the
very well
youngest.
protected.
I was. Yeah.
The
I had.
youngest.
A lot of dad figures.
Yeah, everybody thinks they can tell you what to do.
That's true.
Dad figures or princess status. You probably have a little bit of that with Dad.
Well, my dad would say that I sort of raised myself, and I've always been extremely organized and had it together. So I feel like I'm kind of a corraller of people.
Getting people going. All right. When you went over to Belgium, did you study at university there?
I did a 13th year of high school there. So my primary goal there was I wanted to immerse myself in a culture I didn't know a lot about, and I wanted to learn a language that I had no background in. I'd studied French and Spanish in school here in Petoskey, but I'd never even heard of Flemish, which is a dialect of Dutch.
Okay. And how many people speak that?
Flemish
Couple thousand,
is
couple
spoken,
million?
Flemish is spoken by the Flemish-speaking northern region of Belgium. So
Okay,
it is
very
a dialect specific to a region of a small country.
Can you say something short in Flemish, like "my name is" or something fun?
One of the hardest things for me to learn to say in Flemish was "Happy Birthday,"
Okay.
and in Flemish, "Happy Birthday" is "Gelukkige verjaardag."
True. That would be very hard to say.
Yeah, so imagine the Happy Birthday song.
And you're singing that.
Well, they just say Happy Birthday, actually. But I was preparing for birthday parties to have to say "Gelukkige verjaardag."
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
They don't do it.
You have to stop and think
It's a hard one.
to speak on that one.
Yeah.
That's neat. So then how fluent did you get?
If I remember correctly, I got my certificate of B2 fluency. And so it's been a long time, but I'm still fairly comfortable speaking on a basic kind of conversational level, and my comprehension's pretty good.
Well, I see a sabbatical in your future back to Belgium for
Wouldn't
a few
that be
months.
nice?
Yes. Yep.
If we get an opportunity where the business is stable enough where we can get
We need
away.
to go drink beer.
Yeah, well, and I have my host family who I lived with when I was
Are
there.
still there.
Are still there, and I still care a lot about them. So
bet.
I'd love to reconnect.
You got to get them here.
They've been.
They've been.
One time they came for Trace and my wedding, and they thought it was a beautiful place.
What better time to be than for the wedding?
Yeah, it was really special.
All right. Well, let's talk about Trace, because you probably got him working today, right?
He is, I imagine, at the brewery now.
Doing some stuff.
Yep,
Okay.
doing transferring a beer and preparing it for package.
Oh, how fun.
I guess so.
Well, I mean, it's what you guys love. So
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is definitely. We both really love fermentation and the magic that that makes.
Well, it produces a very unique taste and flavor.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I read in your introduction is your Cicerone. Mm-hmm. So explain to the audience what that is, how you attain that, and how much it helps with the business you're in.
Yeah. So a Cicerone is the equivalent to a sommelier of beer.
Mm-hmm.
And we, as Cicerones, we learn about the process of making beer. We learn about the history of the styles. And ultimately, being a Cicerone is having the skills and knowledge to present beer to a guest from a place of storytelling and knowledge and respect for the fermentation and the brewer's art form there. And to achieve that certification, I went through a number of in-person written exams. So you go to a testing site and you have to write essays about different histories of styles of beer, service standards. You have to demonstrate a part of beer service. So like I had to show the proper protocol for cleaning a beer faucet. And then you do blind tasting, which is a big element of it. Tasting both for identifying styles and off flavors and presentation for service. So is this beer, is there an off flavor or is that fit for service? And
Off flavor, meaning this is not palatable.
so something that means there was a flaw in the fermentation.
That's what you're tasting for.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
that gives you a
something-
little head start on people. Jeez,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It's certainly, when I was working I achieved this certification while I was working at Sierra Nevada. Sierra Nevada Brewing Company.
They're huge.
Yeah, they're one of the largest independent brewers in the country. And there I had the opportunity to participate in their really robust sensory program and train my palate and learn to identify off flavors and age in a beer and what quality looks and tastes like.
How awesome.
It was a great opportunity.
So by default, you're the beer taster at work, right?
I am. We do decide when a beer is ready based on my palate. Yeah.
Yep. So you taste it and you're like, that's ready to go.
Yeah. It's free from off flavors. We do some analytical tests as well, but at the
Was
end
that
of
like
the
a
day,
chemistry test?
yeah. So we will, for example, there's an off flavor, diacetyl, that doesn't appear. It's a sneaky off flavor. It doesn't appear until later if you just let a beer ferment out. So as it ages, the beer will taste great, and all of a sudden it'll taste like movie theater popcorn butter.
Oh, interesting.
And it's the yeast not fully finishing its process of fermentation. And so we do a test where we heat the beer at the end of fermentation to mimic the process of aging and draw out that popcorn butter flavor and aroma.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's there after that test and I smell it, which I have a pretty, I can smell it at a pretty low concentration, then the beer's not ready for service yet. And we let it go a little longer.
Aren't we talking brewing massive quantities? Like, you don't want to mess this up.
Yes, you do not want to mess that up,
Right?
for sure.
You're not brewing a gallon.
No, we are brewing. We have a 7-barrel system.
Okay.
And so in the brewer world, that's how we measure our volumes of beer or cider. And a brewer's barrel is about 31 gallons, or the equivalent of 2 of those big half-barrel kegs, the big kegs.
Yeah.
So when we brew a batch of beer, that's 14 of those half-barrel kegs on average.
Yeah. You don't want to mess that up.
We don't want to mess that
A
up.
lot of time and money into that.
Correct.
Yeah. So what's the difference from beer and cider?
Yeah, we both Trace and I have worked in the business of beer for over 15 years now. But cider, that was something that really we've been doing about 5 years now, and something that we really were drawn to when we moved back here to Northern Michigan. We wanted our beers and ciders and the fermentations we created to reflect the beauty of Northern Michigan in all her seasons. And a big part of our summer seasons and our fall is our apples. We're in the fruit belt of Michigan, and so we have access to just gorgeous fruit. And so we felt if we were going to build a business that reflected the flavor of Northern Michigan, it had to include apples. And so we started to make cider.
Mm-hmm. So is all cider apple-based?
Yes, cider is apple-based fermentations.
Okay. And then is alcohol added to it? How does that happen?
So just like wine starts with grape juice, we either will press apples at the brewery, or we will get apple juice from one of our local orchards. We work with King Orchards quite a bit. They've been a great partner. And we take that juice, we add yeast to it, and we let it ferment. And that's where we get to the hard cider.
Oh, interesting.
When we talk about unfermented cider, we often refer to it as fresh cider.
Okay. That's what you'd buy at the store.
Correct. Fresh cider.
Yeah. And there's a lot of places that make it up here.
Yeah. We actually, when we press in the fall as part of our harvest party in late September, early October, we will press a bunch of fresh juice on site and we freeze it so that we'll have fresh cider to share with folks that we've pressed on site, and share that flavor of up north through it in a non-fermented way, non-alcoholic way, with our guests through the winter and spring.
Are you ever a critic online? Like if you go to a brewery and you taste beer and you're like, man, I got to let them know this isn't tasting good.
Yeah.
Do you ever have to?
In my experience, offering criticism to another brewer is a very special conversation that takes a lot of trust. And so there's visiting another brewer and having them say, oh, I'm really pleased with this, try it. And there's, tell me what you think of this. Really, I'm looking for your feedback. And there's
You lean and go, that costs money. You're going to pay me to do that.
I haven't charged for that service before, but
It's time.
perhaps some way. Yeah, maybe.
Well, then your feedback is wanted.
Yeah, definitely.
If you want to pay me to test your beer, I will do that. So what happens if it tastes good? That's simple. But what if it is a little off?
Yeah.
It's happened, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And oftentimes the brewer knows, like, oh, I was so close, I wish I'd done this or this differently. Brewers are, their own harshest critics. And so oftentimes they're saying, I did this. What do you think we could do differently next time? And so I think those conversations always happen from a place of how can we all be better? I firmly believe in a rising tide raising all boats. And so it's important to both Trace and I to build up our local brewing community. Sure. And if that feedback is part of it, then I think we're all in a place where we trust that.
Sure.
Our intentions are good.
So is brewing very proprietary? Like, so the recipes that you guys have, you've created them. Like, how does that part work?
Um,
Do you sit down with a pen and paper and go, okay, I want a beer with these 4 ingredients in it. Let's try it.
yeah. I think one of the things I love about beer specifically is everybody starts with hops, with malt, with yeast, and water. And with those 4 ingredients, you can create this huge array of flavors and colors and experiences. And so the yeast is promiscuous. It'll do its thing. And so no, recipes are not particularly proprietary. It's all about the process and how the brewer treats each step. There's so many ways the individual can impact the fermentation outcomes,
Right.
that it's very much
An art.
made by people.
Right?
Yeah,
It's an art
it is.
to learn that.
And a science. There's a lot of
like
science to
almost
it.
chemistry.
There's chemistry, there's biology. I
Right.
mean, you're
'Cause-
working with yeast, which is a living organism.
Right.
The hops, that's agricultural. The malted barley, that goes through the farmer and then to the maltster and then to us.
What is malted barley?
So malted barley is barley that has been sprouted just a little bit. And the maltster, basically, they trick the little barley plant into thinking it's time to become a big plant, and they freeze the enzymes of that growth in place so that the brewer can use them to convert the starch inside that barley into simple fermentable sugars that our yeast can eat.
So it feeds the yeast.
It does, yep. So barley is to beer as grapes are to wine. It's our fermentable sugar, but it's also a big source of color and flavor. And the hops, that's like the brewer's spice cabinet. There's so much that we use the hops to balance the sweetness from the barley with the bitterness of the hops and the aromatic flavors and aromas.
So an IPA would be really high on the hoppy scale.
Yeah,
Right?
IPAs.
There's not a lot of sweetness in that.
Right. So
Yeah.
IPAs tend to really showcase the flavor of the hops. That's India Pale Ale. And particularly American IPAs, we love the citrusy, fruity flavors and aroma of particularly West Coast grown American hops.
At your business, do you have hops growing?
We do.
That's what I thought
Yeah, we have a couple different varieties of hops, and we're just using them decoratively.
they were. Yeah, you got to grow 'em massively for,
You do.
yeah.
They also, that particular crop is super water intensive, and they take 3 years to get to a place where they have enough lupulin, which is like the resinous sort of pollen-y material that gives us the aromatics and flavors from the hops.
So the hops has to be 3 years old?
Yeah, that's
That's labor
the like
intensive.
their mature point where they produce enough of those alpha acids and lupulin to be useful in making beer. But the ones we have in our beer garden, we grow them because they're a really fun plant. They're topical to what we make.
Sure.
They're
they're
a natural bug repellent. Bugs don't like that smell. Kind of like citronella, same kind of concept there.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And we're hoping if they're really happy and healthy and get just what they need, they can grow a foot in a day.
Wow.
And so they grow super fast. So
Yeah,
we're
they get
making
going.
kind of an arbor.
So what,
out of
like
'em.
16 feet at their max? What could they do?
Oh gosh. Well, I know out in the hop yards in the Leelanau and Little Traverse Bay, like they use telephone poles to string them up.
Yeah, they're going right up.
So they go way up.
All right. So how did Trace waltz himself into your life? Let's hear this story.
Trace and I met at Kalamazoo College. And I'm
So you're back from Belgium now.
back from Belgium.
He walks in the classroom and you're like, look at this gentleman.
It was my first week at Kalamazoo College, and I thought I just returned from Belgium. I have this love of cooking and food, and I thought, well, the best way to make friends is to bake something, and then I'll offer it to people in my dorm, and that's how I'll make friends.
That's a great idea.
And so I was making banana bread in the dorm kitchen, and Trace came in and said, "You're doing it wrong."
Wow.
Yeah. He said, you really should soak You should soak your bananas in
What an opening
coffee.
line, right?
Yeah, it was a strong line.
You should soak your bananas in coffee?
Yeah. He'd worked as a baker. He did a year between high school and college as well. Worked as a baker out west in Oregon, and loved baking and cooking as well. And so he had, I think it was the Moosewood County Cookbook. And that's something they recommend is soaking your bananas overnight in coffee before you make the banana bread. And it adds this, and using the coffee as the liquid instead of water, it adds a richness, a chocolatiness.
Oh yeah, awesome flavor.
Moisture. Yeah, it is a superior process. He's right. He's absolutely right.
What a way to start a friendship.
Yeah. And I just was so shocked that someone would critique me just trying to make banana bread so I could make friends in college. That I thought, well,
this man's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's really cares. He cares about this process. And so tell me more.
Okay. So then the courtship starts. How long did it take for him to ask you out?
I don't remember. But we dated all through college, started adult life together after college. He got a job right out of college at Founders in Grand Rapids.
Oh, yeah. Another big brewer.
Yeah. So that was...
what was he doing there?
He studied, in college, he studied biology and ecology, and he actually worked on Beaver Island every summer up here in northern Michigan, working on with Dr. Binny Girdler on the plant colonies that hold the dunes together on Lake Michigan and Beaver Island. And so that was where his love of northern Michigan started. And from there, he was a cellarman at Founders, an assistant brewer there, and that kind of launched his career in beer. And all through college, we homebrewed because, little 18-year-olds, I'd just come back from Belgium where I could legally drink. We realized the ingredients to make beer are pretty cheap. And with his interest in biology and chemistry and these processes and my interest in the history of all of these different styles, we made a lot of homebrew.
Some really cool stuff.
In my senior year, I wrote a paper on the Egyptian beer traditions for I had a minor in classics, and that was a really interesting. I read a lot of archaeobotanical evidence for how they used to make beer back in Egypt, where it was medicinal and it was a daily drink, and it was a drink of ritual and ceremony. And so I tried to recreate an ancient Egyptian beer.
Well, isn't a true fermentation's good for the gut?
Yeah. Fermentation is definitely good for your gut.
Have you tried to recreate something similar to that Egyptian beer, like as close as you could get?
I did at that time in college, and it was rough. It was not very good.
Do you think it's what they would have drank? Something similar to that taste?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's
it
hard
was
to tell.
fun because I was trying to incorporate, mimicking the ingredients they had then. They didn't have malted barley. They just had sprouted grain. I made so I tried to use emmer, that ancient grain in it, and it doesn't have the sugar or the power to ferment that other things do. Instead of hops, I used spices they would have had access to through the spice trade. And it tasted very dry and cloying. I'd used star anise and cinnamon and clove and saffron in it, and it was not great. But it was a fascinating study in archaeobotanical evidence from Amarna.
Maybe you should have soaked it in coffee.
Maybe that was the trick. Maybe.
Trace locks in and says, hey, there's one more step here.
Yeah, you got to soak all the ingredients in coffee.
And then we just have this great taste in beer.
Yeah, maybe that was the trick I missed.
Have you taken anything from Belgium and tried to recreate it?
Absolutely. I certainly took away a great appreciation. After our wedding, Trace and I went back to Belgium for our honeymoon trip. And
Show him where you lived.
Exactly.
Yes.
And we stayed with my family. I got to introduce him to all the extended Flemish family and the uncles and aunts. And
so how do you say wedding? Do you remember that word?
Let's see. Married is getrouwd. But wedding. I mean, I'm not remembering what that one is. It's been a while.
We are sending you back to Belgium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but my family were very excited that I married a brewer. That was a big deal.
That's your family. Your brothers like to drink beer.
Oh, my brother. I meant my Belgian.
I'm
sorry. My host family in Belgium thought it was very exciting.
They definitely like to drink beer.
That I married a brewer.
Yeah, that's fun.
So it was fun for Trace to get exposed to that culture and those traditions. And so when we opened Elder Piper, we decided we wanted to make Belgian style bottle conditioned beers for the holidays. So our first year was Silver Bells, which was this beautiful Belgian golden strong ale that was bottle conditioned. And most recently we did Last Embers for our second holiday beer release. And that one was with cherries, Michigan grown Montmorency cherries.
Yeah.
And so we took that Belgian tradition of bottle conditioning, which is where you add a little yeast into the final vessel, the bottle, and it creates natural carbonation as that yeast eats up a little more sugar. And they transform in the bottle, which makes them really fun.
Yeah. Is there a certain age where that transformation stops? Like you don't want it to keep going?
Well, one of the wonderful things about bottle conditioning is they'll continue to evolve over time. There's nothing in beer that can hurt you. Like as a beer ages, it won't become undrinkable.
Tastes bad.
It might taste really beautiful. As for example, as beers age, the hop character fades, the bitterness fades, and the malt character comes up. And that transition, the caramel flavors, the sherry notes, those flavors of age can be really lovely and interesting.
Sure.
So some beers age like a fine wine.
I get gifted home brew, so I think I'm going to bring it to your house.
Okay.
I'm going to have you taste test it.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, Eva, is this palatable? Is this good stuff?
Yeah.
Because I never know.
Well, for me, before beer, I worked in art. I worked at museums and I worked as a curator. And I think that experience in the art really gave me a love of description. I can describe what I see. I can describe what I taste. And I've kind of built a career on describing things.
Right. Which is great, right?
Yeah.
Especially when you're applying it to your art.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the art of beer. All right, so Elder Piper, 2 years.
2 years.
This month.
That's right, yep.
So give me a little background on that. You and Trace are like, let's move back to Petoskey.
Mm-hmm.
And then how did the idea come to do a brewery? Like this, we just have to?
Well, we both had successful careers with breweries down in North Carolina. And during the pandemic, like many people, we had a lot of time to think about our community and the life we'd built. And what I found in Asheville during that period where our opportunities for socialization were really stripped back and we weren't able to get out and about in the community that we loved, it really made me think about what we had there was a great job and great coworkers, but we were missing that deeper piece of community and family. We had some great friends who we've maintained, but we didn't have depth in that community there. And I felt I could build that and that I could have that up here in Northern Michigan. And Trace and I, from the very start of our careers in beer, had talked about opening our own business.
So it's always been a little love and a dream.
It's been a challenge I've always wanted to take on. And so we kind of, with COVID, had this opportunity to say, well, we could do it now or never. Or we just drop that, let it go, move on with our lives. And we decided not to drop it.
So what did you move? Did you move up here during the COVID time?
We did.
frame?
We moved up here in 2023, I think. And it took us it took us a while. I worked remotely for a brewery down in Asheville, and Trace took a role with Pond Hill Farms.
Oh, yeah.
Managing their beer and cider program for a couple years. And what a great community to immerse ourselves in upon returning to Northern Michigan.
That's Jimmy up there, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So I've had a few people recommend that I should podcast with him.
Oh, yeah. Jimmy's great.
Yeah.
that Jimmy, Marcy, Dave, the whole team up there have been so kind and supportive of us as we've grown. Trace came into that role telling them, I'm moving up here to open my own business. And they said, okay, that's fine. How you can work with us and how can we support you? And they've always come to us from that place of how can we help you grow? And that's the kind of community that I really wanted. And so it's wonderful to see it realized from so many different places, not just from former employers, but from other businesses who see our journey and recognize something of their own journey in it.
The building you guys picked is very unique.
It is.
Does it house the brewery as well as the tasting room?
That's right.
Okay.
So it took us a while to find a building that was
big enough
that could be both manufacturing and retail space. From a zoning perspective, that's a fine line to walk. And so I was walking around my neighborhood. The brewery is in the neighborhood I grew up in.
Oh, how
and
cool.
I was walking around kind of, I don't know, kicking rocks, feeling like we're never going to find the right space for this business. And I saw this kind of warehouse on a corner that had grayed out windows and boards across the doors. And I thought, I wonder what that's zoned.
What a thought.
And so I went on the city's equalization map, a great tool for learning about zoning. And in it, you can click on a property and contact the registered owner. And so I did. And he took my call.
Awesome.
And it was the start of a great relationship. And our building was built in 1929 by Bell Telephone Company.
Oh, wow.
And it was the city of Petoskey's switchboard
how
back in the day.
interesting.
And so in the 1930s, it was the switchboard for the city. And it's it's got a triangular edge to it because it was built along an easement from the railroad. Because the only cleared space in 1929 was along the railroad tracks where you could put the telephone poles.
Would there be a stop for the railroad track at that building?
I don't know. I think there was one. Certainly there was one nearby, but I don't know if there was a stop right there or not. But it was Bell Telephone built it, so it's this funny shape. When we moved in, we found the old billing typewriter. We've got that on the wall in our tasting room.
Awesome.
It was many things. It was Demer Tool and Die for a long time. An upholsterer worked out of this building. When we got there, it was warehousing for a commercial painter. It was a dance studio in the 80s. It was housing at one point. The building served our community in so many ways that we're really proud of the new life we've given it.
What a cool rebirth.
Yeah.
What a neat building to do that in and the location down there.
It took a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, but we got it done.
Any major challenges that you've had to overcome in this process?
Certainly, there have been many. There have been many challenges, large and small.
What's one of the bigger ones you've had to solve that you can talk about? We know it wasn't zoning.
Well, it was zoned by rights, but that didn't make it easy.
You still have to fight for it?
Yeah, definitely. The process of the build out became a lot more expensive than we anticipated. We were required to do a lot more to upgrade the space.
Is that like putting in sprinkler systems?
We did. We had to put in a sprinkler system.
Because you're going to have people in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. We have, it's an assembly space. Getting our tanks in, getting tanks, putting together the financial package for this project was quite difficult. As was the build out had its challenges. One that I was quite surprised by that we have not had challenges with was finding fantastic people to work on our team. Once we opened and we put out the word, we were able to get a fantastic group of people who wanted to be part of our team and our community who are still working with us today.
That's awesome.
2 years on, which consistently surprises me to have so many people who care about this thing that Trace and I built.
It's like a little baby.
It
right?
is. It's I have a lot of friends with young children, and the number of times I've been out to drinks with a group of moms and they've talked about their child crying at 3 a.m. and I've said, oh, the brewery's alarm went off at 3 a.m. too. And I had to go down there and make sure nothing bad was happening.
And handle it and deal with it. Yeah, there's a lot of parallels.
The business also cries all the time.
And you have to raise it and grow it.
It is certainly still an infant business.
For sure.
And so that narrative of human life has been so interesting to see reflected in business life.
Well, and we're celebrating you guys this month because it's your 2-year anniversary.
Right?
Yeah. You guys doing any special brews for 2 years?
We did do a special brew. We made our Ward 4 corn lager. We call it our Ward 4 neighborhood lager. Okay. And we are in Ward 4, which is the Petoskey voting district that is the neighborhood that the business is in. Okay. And one of the great blessings has been how receptive our neighborhood has been to us and how excited they are and supportive they have been. And so we made this Ward 4 corn lager with malted corn that was grown here and malted here in Northwest Lower Michigan. Mm-hmm. It uses Mesquite hops, which are a found Michigan varietal that they've revived, that were thought to be the variety that Stroh's used down in Detroit 100 years ago. So that's kind of fun to have those flavors of Michigan in this neighborhood lager for our anniversary.
Well, happy anniversary.
Thank you very much.
That's pretty fun. The awards.
Yeah.
Let's get into some of this. This is for 2 years old, small town brewery starting. You win USA Today, #3 brewer in the country.
Yeah. We're Best New Brewery specifically. So we were one of 20 breweries that were nominated for this Best New Brewery in the country. Only brewery in Michigan. And
congratulations.
Thank you. And my goal when we were first nominated was to get into the top 10. I thought that's a marketing story I can tell, top 10 new breweries in the country, USA Today. And so to get to #3 was just beyond what I thought could be achieved. And that's something that keeps happening is, I
keep getting recognized.
We do. And there's so much intentionality and care that we've put into this business that it's extremely validating when those things happen.
Oh, yeah.
Being in a small town, having national recognition, my goal at Elder Piper was to bring national perspective home to my home community, but conversely also to share the beauty of this place and its unique qualities with the rest of the country. And to get that opportunity in our first 2 years is more than I imagined, but a challenge and an opportunity that we're certainly trying to do our best to take advantage of.
Sure. Well, congratulations to you and Trace for that. It's an awesome honor.
Thank you.
It definitely puts you on the bike tour.
It does.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, people are like, hey, where's this place? Let's go up and check it out.
Yeah.
So
I've had a number of other local businesses tell me when they got these kinds of recognition, like the fine folks over at Petoskey Cheese also got named one of the best cheese shops in the Midwest. And they said it has a real impact on business, so be prepared.
Is that the one on West Conway?
That's right. Yep.
Oh, yeah. So I heard they make incredible sandwiches there, too.
They do. They're fantastic.
That's awesome. Yeah. And a gentleman I know, Fred, I think he's helped them or owned the building or something.
Oh, great.
So, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Definitely.
All right. So you win these awards. Has anybody stopped in and said, hey, we're crossing the country and we drove up here to hit this?
Yeah, I have had a number of folks who make it a point to visit breweries. One of our first recognitions that I thought was really exciting is we were named Hop Culture Magazine's One to Watch in our first year in business. And that's a national beer trade magazine. And being in that list of ones to watch opened us up to that small niche group of vocal minority of like brewery fans.
People who are watching.
Who are watching and paying attention. They want to know what's next. What's the next big trend? And so that put us on a number of radars. And then to grow that interest with continued recognitions, both from competitions and also through like the USA Today nomination has set a reputation for us and drawn a lot of interest.
So what happens? USA Today calls and says, "Oh, by the way, you just won third best." How does that happen?
They have a panel of, I think it was 8 experts in craft beer who are from all over the country, and those 8 people nominated 20 breweries around the country to be in this People's Choice Award. So from there, their nomination, there are 20 breweries, then it goes to the public, and it's a Reader's Choice Award. Sure. And so it's people clicking, it was one of those odd moments where I kept saying, vote early, vote often. And getting folks over the course of a month to vote for us. And we were one of the smallest communities represented in that group of 20. I
could imagine that's very true.
Yeah. We were one of the most isolated and smallest communities to get nominated.
And you don't have a lot of history. So it's not like a big footprint of people that know yet.
Yeah, very true. And interestingly, it was Best New Brewery. So they were all newer breweries, but most of them were
big cities.
Were bigger cities, yep. And closer to 5 years in business. And so in our, before even our second anniversary,
I was going to say a year and a half.
Yeah. Yeah. That was really exciting. And I mean, I know that more than just Petoskey voted for us.
Well, a lot of people have. What's amazing about this place is how many people pass through.
Absolutely.
So you have people coming through here from everywhere that would have known of your brewery and be like, oh, yeah, that place is fabulous.
And one of the things that I really get excited about with being a resort community and a tourism community is the way we can build ourselves into folks' annual visit up here. I've noticed, particularly with our seasonal folks, they have the places they love and they want to come back to those every year. And so to have those folks return and see how we've grown, it's fun to have those seasonal regulars who kind of peek in at those moments as the brewery grows and get really excited about all the change that they see.
So is this a natural progression of brewery, or kind of give me the idea here? You start what you're doing. Do you want to go into distribution, or do you say, no, that's not a world that we really want to get into? Like, do you want to be distributing Elder Piper across the country? Or do you stay, no, we want to stay really niche and really flexible? I think this is me personally, I think a lot of them lose that really cool feature when they do that. But is that the goal? Like, what do you do with that?
Yeah. Elder Piper is about a love of place and community and roots. Our logo is the pitcher's thistle, and it's this species that grows on the dunes of Lake Michigan, and it has a deep taproot that holds its community together when the sands are shifting and changing. And that's what we want our business to do. And so our business is built to celebrate here. And one of the advantages Trace and I have working 15 years in this industry for some of the largest breweries in the country, if not the world, is we've seen that other side, that international distribution footprint with layers and layers of corporate structure. And that isn't what we wanted to do.
That doesn't sound fun.
Ours is a taproom focused brewery. It's about celebrating and exploring ingredients and fermentation and the people who make it worth doing. And so our goal would be to keep it pretty focused on that experience.
That's an amazing goal. I'm happy for you guys.
Thank you.
I think it's rewarding. I don't think the corporate stuff is very rewarding. Like you're saying, the layers and layers and layers. By the time the CEO, he's not even a beer person, right? They're running businesses and they're doing the finances and they're setting up the networks. Then they're not tasting the beer, right? I mean, you just grow further away from that process.
One of the things that I've heard from a lot of artisanal businesses is if you love your craft, don't open a business, because as a technician, as someone who loves to make the thing, if that's your focus, you're not going to get to do that if you run a business. But Trace and I love the challenge and the puzzles of all the pieces that go around making fantastic beer. And so for us, it's about the whole. And so I think there's...
well, you're an incredible team.
We are a really good team.
Right. If
Yeah.
Trace was trying to do this alone, or you were trying to do it alone, that burnout can happen.
Oh, absolutely.
But you guys complement each other.
Yeah, and we've worked together professionally for on and off throughout our careers.
Yeah.
And so we knew coming into this that we were a very strong team. Trace is an excellent brewer. He loves the technical aspects. He dives deep into the science of making beer. And my skill is in making those world-class beers tell a story that matters to people and connecting the ideas and the products to something bigger that resonates with people.
Well, handsome and handy. You did good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're a really good team.
That's probably the best.
Yeah.
Is that teamwork and then kind of the vision there. All right. Any parting wisdom that you'd like to leave somebody that's thinking about starting a business? Things that you've noticed education-wise, anything that you kind of, let's say you were going to talk to somebody leaving high school in a leadership capacity. What would you say to somebody doing that?
I would say that you'll never feel ready for the next thing. I think you have to take that next step regardless of how you feel about it. One of the things I continually learn as an entrepreneur is there is no one better or smarter coming to the rescue. There is no one better or smarter who could do this better than you.
You better figure it out.
You better figure it out, and you better just get over that hurdle of self-doubt and dive in and figure it out. There's beauty in that struggle. There's fun in that challenge, and I wouldn't want to miss that.
That prevents a lot of people from doing entrepreneurship.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There are so many barriers, but I think the biggest one is ourselves.
Self-doubt. Yeah. Yeah, that's a huge one. When my wife and I started our practice, we had 2 patients the first month. So we know that feeling of,
Oh my goodness.
You know,
Yep.
we got to get this thing rocking.
Yeah. People will come to the brewery and say, "Oh, you look relaxed." And I'll say, "Well, we're like ducks. We look serene on top, but our feet are paddling madly underneath the water."
Oh, that's a good way to explain that.
Yeah.
We're working very hard beneath the surface.
Yeah. We want it to look smooth.
Yes, we want it to look calm in here so you guys can be peaceful and have a beer and enjoy yourself.
Yeah. We don't bring that chaos into the tap room.
No, and that's good.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So do you guys enjoy being there together sometimes? It's been a while.
One of my dreams for having a tap room was this idea that I could enjoy a pint, a great pint with a book. And I said that recently, and Trace reminded me that, like, that you are going to have to go to another community where you don't know anyone for that to happen.
Everybody wants to talk to you.
Well, and I want to talk to everybody.
Yeah.
I think part of the fun of being a community space is connecting with that community. I see it as part of my job, something that my former boss, Oscar Wong at Highland Brewing Company, demonstrated so well, was in your tap room being a host and welcoming people into that space and making them feel a part of something, that belonging. That's the feeling that it's my job to build.
That's a neat thing to create. Well, you've done it.
Thank you.
Right? I mean, that place is beautiful. It's always busy. So
we are continuing to grow our community. More and more people hear about us. We host so many community groups, and it's still 2 years in. I find myself being like, every day someone comes in and said, "Oh, I just stumbled upon this. Never even heard of it. How long have you been here?" And I mentioned that to someone who had been in business for quite some time, and they said that happens to us too. We've been here 20 years.
People just don't notice.
And so it was good to get out of my head and remind myself that there is something much bigger happening, and we're just a small piece of that. But if we can be a part of people's stories, that's very fun.
Wow, that was some wonderful wisdom for an aspiring entrepreneur. So I like that. We're going to wrap it up today. I want to thank you so much for sharing your story. It's absolutely amazing. Winning the award for USA Today. Incredible.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your 2-year anniversary. And I always give guests a little gift, so I got you something too.
That's very kind. Thank you. Oh, wow.
Yay, I got you some local honey. So this is for you and Trace at home. And obviously you guys are fans of local
Definitely.
ingredients, so that's definitely one of them. And Eeva, I just want to thank you so much for your time today. Just amazing to hear your story and how you guys grew and what you're doing. So
thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
all righty. Thank you. Everybody listening, you guys have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll see you next time.